It's a pleasure to be back. Thanks, man.
Sorry guys, for anyone who's back with us again. We ran into some technical issues again, but we are back and running. We're gonna jump off from where we left you guys. Okay, basically moving forward with this podcast, and what I wanted to chat about today is kind of the dance music culture in our country, kind of the history of where it came from in our time, not obviously, we can't really speak about before our time, but from when, we first started hitting nightclubs to where it is now, to where it could be moving forward, certain, difficulties, certain issues. Basically from my side, the history of my dance music culture in the country, when I first started going out back in 2010, it must have been 2011.
It's probably 2010 World Cup. Kicked us all off.
Everything was EDM. Anywhere you went, any festival, any nightclub, it was all EDM. Like, that was the in thing. It was huge. Pretty much until we went on our VAC, which was 2013. Obviously by then I'd started moving to other genres, but I do remember from then it's still being huge and prevalent. Moving on with what I went through then, I started getting more into like a deep house kind of vibe, a techno vibe. Obviously I went through my little drum and bass phase and my dubstep phase and whatever. But then I stumbled across kind of the deep house culture, the techno culture, and as being the DJ Eat SherBit, I have not moved back since then. But I did notice just from that point, just kind of this very steady decline of EDM music, kind of like house music, deep house became, more popular, became more commercial. Then EDM slowly died out, and then now I see kind of the same general trend of that happening with techno. Is deep house is becoming a little less and techno is becoming a little more.
And like, it was actually a discussion me and you were having the other day, where a lot of, especially if we're looking at Joburg scene versus Cape Town scene, the music is quite a bit different. The DJs, I guess the energy is a little bit different. As soon as you mentioned EDM, and like when we were still back in 2010, 2012, I'm thinking about back when H2O used to pop off real big, and we got like Dead Mouse and stuff like that. And that was very niche, and there aren't many artists out today who are producing music like that. And I'd go as far as to say, like, it's very hard to find new music in the genre. It's not as if people don't enjoy it anymore. It's not as if I don't miss it to a certain extent, but those days to a large extent are behind us. I mean, if you're thinking about the people, just the most influential people around those scenes, like something that just as soon as you mentioned that, I was thinking about Ziz back in the day. I mean, people like that who were icons of the EDM industry and goals, they aren't exactly the prevalent people that, if we're being realistic, a lot of the culture is defined by the kids growing up. Let's be honest here. And the role models and the idols at the moment, they're skewed completely to a different, niche. First of all, the culture's changed entirely, where we are a lot more accepting and conscious of other people, where it's not so much I'm putting myself out there and being the biggest dude at the party, and it's more us just enjoying the vibe together. And what I was saying earlier, if I'm comparing like Joburg scene to Cape Town scene, it's a lot more relaxed in Cape Town, and it's almost like they're 3 steps slower. And up here, we still have that really big techno culture. And if we're thinking like Toy, third place, a lot of those places, they still bang. And I don't see them declining anytime soon, because a lot of the kids are still going. So at least to that extent, I know you were saying there's a decline, and I can see that decline, but there is still a strong culture out there. I mean, it's before we start saying it's turning into EDM,
Yeah, I guess kind of the question that's been kind of lingering on my mind, if I could say that, or that's, I kind of question is obviously the biggest genre worldwide in our country, anywhere you look, is the hip-hop industry at the moment, and especially with a lot of the younger generation, I mean, to some degree it has always been very big, very popular, but I know there was a big phase where we were kind of finishing high school, going into varsity and stuff, and there was definitely a big move away from the hip-hop side of things towards this almost different, we went through a very hipster phase where everyone wanted to be unique, everyone wanted to be different, no one wanted to be the same, and it just makes me kind of question the stability of dance music in our country. Obviously, for it to get the longevity it needs and for it to live on, obviously the younger generation has to buy into it. And I just it makes me question kind of for a future of the music and a future of the culture in our country.
I think it's very interesting that you mentioned hip hop like that, where we're thinking back in 2010, 2012, it was still Drake. Well, Drake's still very prevalent, but back then it was Eminem type of vibes, and that was heavy rap. And at the moment, it's not as if it's the same type of hip hop that's prevalent. There's a very weird, I don't know, I wouldn't know what to call the music. It's not as if I don't enjoy it. It's this weird indie rap. It's got a little bit of techno thrown in there. It's whatever bops, really, to be honest. That's what's banging at the moment. And it's also very, I don't want to call it fleeting, but it's almost as if it comes, it'll be big for about 3-4 weeks and you won't hear that song ever again. And it's constantly changing, and I think for a large point it's because we have reached a point, I guess, just as human beings, where there's so many content creators and so many people making decent music that it's always going to come out real quick, real fast. And for us to keep up as the user end, the consumers, it's dizzying.
I think very good point in that is in terms of the consumer culture, the consumerism, and how many content creators there are. We literally left, right, and center, all the time. We are getting new music, new ideas, new flows, new artists, coming left, right, and center. And so I think the worrisome thing about it, although as from a entertainment point of view or from a listener, consumer point of view, it's great. All the time you're getting new things. But coming from, let's say, an artist's point of view, or a manager, or a singer, or whatever you consider yourself, the industry at the moment, or entertainment at the moment is almost very fickle. I don't know if fickle's per se the right word, but fleeting. In terms of what, for you guys listening, what is the go-to? Do you look to pump out as many songs as fast as you can, or is it about making a hit? Do hits still, golden oldies, do they still work? If you think back to Queen and you think back to any of those bands in the old days, there's still songs now 30, nearly 40 years later, and they still hits. So is it becoming fickle because of this mass production, in terms of people are trying to get as much as fast out as they can, so the quality's almost not as personal and not as touching? Or is it from our point of view, from a listening point of view, that we're so used to consuming left, right, and center as much as you can that we actually killing it for the artists?
Wow, that's it's one way to look at it. I mean, it's not wrong if you're saying just the way we consume things, we're not giving them the time of day. I know, if I'm just thinking about the amount of songs I add to my playlist on a daily basis, and that's just commuting there and back, it's 4, 5, 6 songs a day. And I only have, let's say, max about 2 hours of listening. And the amount I can consume every day in terms of one artist's music, it's always on the decline. unless they're producing enough music for me to be adding those songs every day, slowly they go down the list. And naturally, in that way, the way we consume is killing artists. I can't argue with that. As soon as I put it like in my own perspective, the way I'm consuming music. But at the same time, like if you're thinking whether it's hits or just pumping out music, the hits will like never really die. I mean, we were just speaking about hip hop earlier. Like I can tell you for a fact, if we're speaking Drake now, you can get a silly amount of people on their feet going cuckmole just as soon as you put on the right Drake song, and that's just how it is. Those hits are still hits, man. But I don't know, like it gets to a different, like I guess more philosophical question in terms of, are they hits because it's Drake's song, or are they really that good? I don't know. I still think they're that good, but like I know to a certain extent, even his albums that when they were first brought out and people regarded them as a little bit of a flop, they still banging it. It's not as if anyone, because just the sheer volume of people consuming it, and if you're reaching 200, 300,000 people in an hour, at least like 20,000 are going to be hooked. Suddenly you have the following. Then you don't have to fight it anymore. You've got those people in the house. I mean, so just not necessarily the sheer number, but the quality of artists. It's what sells it there.
Yeah, it's very true, dude. But there also comes the balance between, being great, being good at what you do, but also getting your name out there. You know, and with regards to how much is going on, how many, it does create these very difficult barriers for entry. You know, I've heard some. I get most of my music on Soundcloud, and there's certain tracks that this is a hit, you know, in my eyes, and I can play it on any dance floor at any night, and it goes down. You go and check the guy out, he's got 150 followers and he's got 14 plays on his song, and you just kind of think like, how, like, I'd pay to be able to make music like this guy does. So as true as it is in terms of good music being good music, there still is this almost balance of or this entry barrier of actually getting in and getting out there, which is very, very tough for up and comings at the moment, and I don't see a change in it anytime soon. If anything, I just see it becoming more.
Well, just by the sheer number of people in the industry, it's obviously going to become more, and I think it's a challenge, especially for new artists. I mean, like, it's actually a little bit scary, aside from that weird hip-hop culture that is emerging at the moment. And those artists, they are people who have like 2-3 big bangers and then they fade again. And we remember them because of those 1 or 2 very big songs that they released. And going forward, for someone new in the industry to get out there and create a name for yourself like that, it's very challenging, because you know, if you look at the market and you look at what has been successful recently, you know that it is still just one big hit. But at the same time, it's one big hit that lasts maybe 3-4 weeks like this. And after that, you've made your name, everyone knows who you are, but they've stopped consuming your music. It's like, have you heard the new song from them? Yeah, sure, but it's not this, it's not that. Like, it's not what we loved from them. But what they loved in the beginning was 1 or 2 songs, man. That was it. And it makes it very weird.
Yeah, I like just from what we've been talking about. Yeah, I think it definitely comes back to us as a consumer culture, in terms of, everything needs to move faster, everything needs to happen more urgent and more, and I think, just kind of, if there's anything that I can get out there that would be beneficial to up and coming artists, to producers, to pretty much anyone in the industry, would be like, just take time to notice talent. Don't just look at the name and assume, and don't think just because someone's got a big name they're going to be making great music. I'd say actually, take the time, really listen, really, make your own opinion about it. And I think that would help, all of us, if everyone can get on the same collective moving forward, the same frame of mind, I think it would just be beneficial to the entire industry, to music, not just in our country but everywhere. So that would be my 2 cents to anyone listening.
But at the same time, like, I know that the real OGs listen to the music, man. I mean, like, I understand where you're coming from, where if we're saying, like, to the general public who don't consume on the rate that most people do. Well, I'd say if they're consuming music at a lesser rate. If it's something that they do only when they're in the car type of thing. But I know the people that at least are on the scene at the moment, they're there largely for the music. And they're there for that reason where they know what they've come to get. And it's not as if good talent goes unnoticed. I think that the next step, though, is when you're on the draw and something... I think the next challenge for those DJs is because, like, the way sets turn at the moment, you're like, wow, did you see that set an hour ago? I have no idea who was playing. But he dropped this one track. Did you hear it? It was like this. It was absolutely unreal. I couldn't stop thinking about it. But then you don't even know who was on stage. It just, like, happened so quickly. And that's just, like, from a personal side. Like, the people who are in the venue for the music, who are there to consume the music, and they're having it for the draw, it's not as if they don't notice. Those are the people you want to actually reach, to be honest. But a lot of the time, depending on the setting, it happens so quickly. As soon as it's got you hooked, it ends, and suddenly the sets change and you're like spinning, pretty much. But at the same time, it's not as if it's not valid what you're saying, that at least everyone else who, and this is where I'd say a lot of it in terms of the younger crowd who haven't been in the scene long enough, they go to events because of the big names. And the thought past that is, it's almost like if you think back to even like first and second year when you were just fresh out of school, you'd sell it in the sense that you saw the name and the name set. Did you see, like, I don't want to throw names out, but no matter what, like the caliber of the set that was delivered, you're gonna go. You saw the set and it was awesome. It doesn't matter where you were. A lot of the times at that stage in your life, you're not even there for the music. You're there getting hammered, and you're telling your mates you saw this epic set and it was probably the best moment of your life. You know, you go off, and at the end of the day, that's what you're telling people, but they weren't there for the music in the beginning. But it sold the tickets. It filled out the venue, and that's the very, like, I guess, give and take here, where you want to build the fan base where they're there for your music, but to fill out venues, to sell the tickets, it's so much easier if you have this, I don't know if I call it, or this mystique about you because of the name that everyone wants to be there. I mean, we had this conversation a few days ago that certain names just sell tickets, and the caliber of the set that's delivered doesn't really matter anymore. And
Yeah, dude. And I think it does come back to, you know, a very valid point that you made is what the person's intentions are, the reason that they're actually there. You know, are you there to get hammered, to take a whole bunch of videos so people know you were there, or like, are you there actually as a diehard music fanatic? You know, are you looking at the lineup, seeing 5 names that you have no clue who it is, but you know, X is on the lineup and now you're making it, you know, or do you take it from the perspective where, okay, I know X on the lineup, who's this? Let's go listen to their music, let's see. So I think, it actually comes back to basically like the party culture and what you actually there for and what your intent is and what you're looking to get out of going there. And we did speak about this the other day in terms of getting almost that balance of true diehard fanatics and the people that are just there blogging about it, taking videos and taking that sort of stuff. But then it kind of comes to let's call it the rave culture. Is like if you go to a venue and you see half the venue take out their phone and take videos, are you pro it? Are you against it? Like, how do you feel about it? For me, I know if it's my event, I'm 100% pro, because I'm like, sweet, like people are promoting for me. But I know if before I was even throwing events, when I was just a party goer, me standing there, it was very annoying. You know, I was in my head, you know, very, very judgy. Obviously, it's horrible to say.
I 100% understand in the sense that, like, there's different types of people, and, like, I can say a lot of the time, like, if I had my phone out, it's because I had Shazam in my pocket, bro. I'm trying to Shazam all these tracks, bro, but it just keeps vibrating because it's like song not found, and like, fuck. I'm sitting there shazamming in my pocket. I keep looking at my phone, being a little bit antisocial, but it's because the song's banging, bro. I want to hear it again. And there's that side of it, and then there's like the other side where you're saying you appreciate people who are Instagramming live your set. And to a certain extent, like that's great and all, but it's getting the people into the door that are going to Instagram. And like it's something that I was thinking about like a while ago when we were just thinking about this Thursday and the event at Mary Jane's, and I was thinking to myself, like one thing that sometimes we might try shy away from. I mean, a lot of the time we are saying, listen, we're going there for the music. I know I'm going there for the music, but it's just one of those weird facts where, I'll just say it, that good-looking people sell tickets, man. Especially if someone's Instagram live and you know if it's the guy or girl that you've been crushing on and they're there, suddenly you want to be there. And pulling those people through the door, that's why, like, as soon as you're saying you appreciate when someone Instagram lives your story, it's because you know they have people that are watching. And we were talking about when people, you rope in people just to Instagram live your event. And these are, let's call them influencers. And you know that they pull a certain crowd. I mean, when we're thinking about, like, let's say the younger people who are just getting into the scene, they're going there for specific reasons. A lot of times, yes, they say it's the music, they say it's the artist on the headlining act, but a lot of it's just because everyone else is there. Especially at that stage in your life, you're asking yourself, okay, we have like 6-7 groups of friends. If 3 or 4 of them are going, you know that's like 50 people that I know that are going to this party. I know that I have to be there because everyone's going to be talking shit about it for weeks. I don't want to not be
left
there.
out.
Yeah, so it's like it's I don't want to say it's a hard truth because look, everyone loves good-looking people, but to get to that stage where you're happy to see people Instagramming live your events and stuff, you know that to a certain extent, it sounds a bit like crass to say, but sex sold, man. And it gets to that stage, especially when we were speaking about earlier how the culture's changing and where it is now and where it is going forward. And a lot of the times, to get it off the mark, to get it to that stage where it is a household name that everyone's going to go home and hype it up, it has to be the people going there to see the other people that are going there. I mean, as much as we can pull in like-minded... Okay, look, there is the other side of the coin, and this is what we're striving for, where we have a big group of like-minded people who are there for the right reasons, who are shazamming in their pocket logo. And I love that. But at the same time, to bring the new people in and to make sure that if we're going to get to the stage from where we just have like-minded people to people who are making these hits and like breaking the stage type of thing, you have to be pulling in people who want to be there, not just for the act, but for the other people that are there. And that's a very weird balance to get right. I mean, how do you sell people on what they want to want? Like, it's very weird.
Yeah, with like, people kind of not knowing what you want and giving them what they don't know they want. Yeah, it is a very difficult balance, I guess. And also, I have noticed a lot of people, myself included, are very black and white on the topic in terms of like, you either like, yes, Instagramming and videoing and that stuff is good and I'm going to do it as much as possible, or you're on the other side of the fence where you're like, get these people out of here. Like, if you're here, be here, enjoy it, stop telling everyone else out there. And so, I guess kind of that balance of, creating the right environment. You're not going to please everyone, that's hands down, at the end of the day, but kind of, creating enough exposure, but then still like enough, let's call it exclusivity, in and out type of vibe.
But sometimes, like, now that you're saying that, the exclusivity can like create the exposure. If you think about certain places who over the past, they've gone the route of putting the stickers over your camera. And it is a talking point where 2-3 days after the event, someone looks at their phone and they've still got the sticker on their camera, and now suddenly people are like, where did you go? Where did they put that sticker on your phone? I know there were a few places where I'm thinking about Vice now, it's closed it's closed now, where they used to put it and it was a talking point where everyone kept those stickers on their phone for long periods afterwards. there'd be people in the club taking it off, taking a video and putting it back on. But because it was almost like a statement, like, listen, I went there, and everyone was hyped about that. So yeah, it's a very weird balance to find. Yeah.
So I wonder kind of how the rave culture in our industry would go in terms of this very secret society, very, no details dropped. You in a WhatsApp group, or you in a Facebook private event page, and it's this very kind of exclusive thing. You get there, there's no phones, you jump on a party bus and you don't even know where the venue is, that type of thing. Like, I wonder, for me as an attendee, I'd love that, To me, that just makes it so exclusive that you're part of something. You're actually part of this community that not everyone can actually get in. You're a VIP basically just by being there. So yeah, I wonder, just kind of with everything we've spoken about, how that rave culture, how it would work in our country, if it would work in our country.
Well, to a certain extent, it has been tried and it did succeed. I don't know, the Bud Light boiler room sessions. They obviously, I know. In Cape Town, they did move around a lot. It was very successful. When they brought it up to Joburg, I know, mostly because it was around the corner from where I worked, I know it was in the same place every single time. But that place didn't get out to a lot of people. So it was still a very exclusive event. But it got to a stage where I didn't need an invite. I know I could see them setting up 2-3 days before, and I'd just pull in. The fuckers never gave me an invite. but it did work. It was a very well-attended party, and I can say, just based on where it was held at the time, it was there deep in Brom. The people that were pulling in, they were from all over. It was very successful in the sense that I did go to one when I was in Cape Town and one when I was here. They were filling out like 400, 500 people of people who were there for the exclusive party purely. Dressed to the nine. Like, it was pretty epic. It work, but at that stage where you get to international DJs announcing, okay, we're going to email blast 5,000 people only in 2 weeks' time. From there, on the day, we're going to email you a location and be there by 7, show us the email, we'll let you in. It's a different, I guess, we're talking like different exposure that they can get, and the media teams behind it, where even though it was an exclusive event, there was constant advertising. The Bud Light presents the boiler room at, and it was like all grayed out. I can still remember the media campaign, and that type of exposure, it only comes with a lot of money. I mean, first of all, you're hiring like marketing teams, constantly putting this stuff on Instagram, Facebook, wherever, but you're not even advertising anything at that stage. You're just advertising hype, and I think that's the craziest part.
Yeah, it's very... Yeah, dude, it sounds like a really awesome route to take in terms of being a event organizer, is to do that. You're selling not an actual place and not actually a venue or artists or anything.
Yeah.
You're selling the hype, and people know what to expect. They know what they're going to get out of it, so you don't need to actually provide them with any details.
Yeah.
They just know, okay, these people are involved, this is what's going to happen, and 10 out of 10 times they go through, expectations fulfilled.
I think when I was there in Cape Town, I can't remember who it was. I don't want to say it was Buckham. I think it might have been. And all I remember in the weeks leading up to it, especially on Twitter, was people like, has anyone received the email? And then obviously there were people that were fake saying, yeah, I've received the email. But then as soon as one person said it, everyone else was like posturing as if they'd received the email. And even though they announced, listen, we're going to send a day off, and day off the emails actually went out. And then maybe at like 1:30 in the morning, we started seeing Instagram stories of the actual people who went. So it was profound. Yeah, awesome.
I love rave culture, and I think obviously in Joburg, I know there has been a little bit that's been tried here and there. I know they also did the Budweiser, I can't remember exactly what it was called, but free entrance, and only certain ticket reps were selling tickets or giving out tickets. Yeah, but I think if you can do it right, if you know, obviously if we can build a big enough name and a big enough reputation, I think it's a really good culture to actually go back onto. You know, the unnamed location, unnamed act, unnamed artist. You know what to expect come through. So yeah, on a personal level, I love that exclusivity idea behind it. But as you said, you know, it's all about selling hype.
Yeah, but at the same time, I know that's what I was saying. But like, as soon as you start saying it like that, I know that if I want to go to a place, it's because of the people. And if it is just that small group, it is just the people you really want to see. It can be 10, it can be 15 people. It can be a house party, but I miss house parties. And as soon as you say that, like, it's just the people you really want to see. The music's going to be banging the whole night. Everyone's bringing like-minded people to the house. It's awesome. Then I don't need anyone hopped up. Just even the days after, the days before, brother. Then you've reached that stage and it's awesome.
Yeah, but I guess in terms of the hype, is the community, is the people that you're actually bringing, creates a hype towards it.
Yeah. People get excited to be excited. So it's a tough thing to navigate and get to that point. But especially like going forward as an events company and like making sure that you have like-minded DJs with similar goals. Once you get to that point, like if you've established the community, I don't think you can go wrong. So I guess the challenge is slowly roping in the same way at ESP on Sunday, where you're bringing in small communities of people where suddenly all under the same roof with the same intentions. And you knew they were there for the same reason. So then once you reach that stage, if you have enough of them, then you sort it really.
That is true. Then it basically sells itself.
Yeah.
Well, for any of you watching, keep your eyes and ears to the ground. We are going to slowly start creating an incognito community, very exclusive. You're either in or you're either out. And obviously, you know, you guys who have been joining us and who have been watching and listening to all the cuck that we speak, you know, you guys are got your foot already in the right direction. You know, you got your foot in the door. So yeah, just keep an eye out.
Yeah, man. I think like getting to that stage it's half the job. Once you're there, especially the people that are involved, even if you're just the party goer, staying true to that like community. I mean, I think the other danger is once you reach to that point where now you've got this community of people all like-minded, and it's gotten to the stage where it's hype, like it's proper hype. What's to stop other people from joining who aren't like-minded? Like as soon as it's something that everyone inside is enjoying, other people are going to see how much you're enjoying, and they're like, shit, where can I get involved? How can I be more involved in this? And at that stage, like you almost too big to fail, but you're too big that you're going to fail for what you're going for. It's a big challenge in terms of, well, that's where that exclusivity and anonymity will be your biggest strength, in terms of only letting, look, I don't want to say we're only letting certain people know where, when it's going down, but only letting a certain amount in on the action. Once you get to that stage, you sort it though. As long as you have the big enough community, say we've got like 1,000 people to draw from, and we say only this event can only cater for 200. You're not going to go wrong, because you know everyone wants to be there. And then you sort it. But the challenge is, once you've got that event where there's only 50 people on the night, like that was the challenge with those events in the past, where stragglers would just come through the door, like me. Like you hear it's going down and you know it's going to be epic. Suddenly, like it's FOMO. It's just plain and simple. It's FOMO. You know you want to be there, and you're going to do whatever you need to be there. And then suddenly you gate crashing. Like it's awesome for people gate crashing, but as event organizers, it's almost a failure in terms of the incognito stuff.
Dude, it basically defeats the purpose of what you're actually going for.
Yeah.
And so, as you said, it is a very, there's actually kind of like a time and a size that it works out perfectly. You know, if you're too small as an events company and you don't have a pool, it doesn't work. But if you're too big and you've got too many people, it also doesn't work. So yeah, I guess it's kind of about finding, timing on when you actually decide to execute this kind of underground rave, the sneaky, you in or you out.
Well, the two sides that you mentioned, it's good problems to have and bad problems to have. Obviously, you want the good problems. If you have the people that you can pull on at any given moment, you can throw the event tonight. Easy. Like, if there was no curfew in effect, you said, listen, Buggers, this is going down. We've got max 250 people that can fill out this place. First come, first serve. Man, it's happening. Be there or be square, man. Like, after that, it's sorted. If you have the people to pull on. And I think that the immediate goal needs to be making sure that we can get those people in the same place. Or bringing them into the community.
Yeah, and I think also kind of a point that you made earlier is also getting the like-minded people, kind of getting that community. And I think just from a event organizer's point of view, if you delivering kind of on what you're saying that you're going to deliver and following through with kind of what you're promising, I think in just doing that you actually do create a community that follows you and a community that's dedicated to you. And then I think in that sense, if you were to do basically underground rave, people would know what to expect just from knowing what to expect from you as a brand.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think, just from discussions that we've had now, I would really like to kind of reignite this underground rave culture, rave community.
Yeah.
For you guys who are joined and who are watching us, what do you think? What are your thoughts on rave culture, on exclusive parties, on underground venues? Yeah, let us know. We'd love to get your feedback.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge will always be going forward. Sure, we want to set up the community, and depending on where we want to throw it, if it is not a venue, then you're fine. But the stigma that comes across with certain venues, say we certainly throwing an event at a place that was renowned for, let's say it's a pub vibe. Let's start there. And now to draw people in, even if we're saying, okay, we've got 200 like-minded people, it's 9, 10 o'clock at night, we're letting them know this is the place to pull through. You've lined up the DJs, you know what it's going to be. But at the same time, the people who are familiar with the place, they think to themselves, listen, I've been there, I know what it's about. There's no ways that this place can change from what it is now to the vibe that's being pushed by the events company. I mean, it's a lot easier when it's neutral locations, and that's something I've always been a big fan of in terms of throwing draws where it is a neutral location, somewhere that it's not necessarily an event place or a venue, but it's somewhere where it's easily accessible for everyone. But because in terms of the way it's marketed, in terms of the information that's being given out, it's still exclusive.
Yeah, I think that is a very valid point in terms of, if you're a regular and you usually go to a certain place and you know what to expect and you expecting something, it is I don't want to say a slap in the face. That's quite a strong way of putting it, but it is what's going on, what's happening to my place.
And I guess the opposite side is if you don't like the place for whatever reason, or you know the crowd that generally gravitates there, and it's kind of off-putting. You don't want to go there because you don't want to see that crowd of people. It's something that always goes through people's minds, especially when you're throwing the type of event that, okay, we're going to tell people it's happening now, and then they're just going to pull through. But what about the people that are already there? That's the first thing I'm going to think. We're going to a place where they're Soki every night. I don't know if I'm on board, bro. So it's something where we have to bridge the gap in the sense that the venue has to be like-minded to a certain extent. Well, in most cases. I'm not saying that it can't work in those venues that have been reutilized for a night. Sometimes it's epic, but it's a very weird balance to find.
Yeah, I think it's, as you said, about getting kind of a neutral venue, a place that's not per se a bar or a nightclub or about getting I don't know, an abandoned factory, an abandoned mine, getting a random field, dude.
like even like Future Frequencies now, like they've gone down a road where it was very out there to have it in the shipyard. But now, even when you're driving past that shipyard, you're like, yeah, that's Future Frequencies. I'm not even calling it a shipyard anymore. It's Future Frequencies to me. And those type of neutral places where, look, I've been to a few where it's just been an underground parking lot. That's a very weird jaunt to go to. It's also a very cool jaunt to go to once. So like things like that where, look, I'm not saying Future Frequencies has gotten so big that I don't think it'll ever fail. But the novelty and the exclusivity around it being a jewel that was happening in the shipyard, I think to a certain extent, we know what to expect. In a lot of people's minds, when they are driving around that area, they're like, yeah, Future Frequencies is over there. It's not that place where they threw that party in the shipyard. I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, okay. Very interesting discussion we've had tonight with regards to, our culture and our industry, our rave culture, the dance music, where it's going, what's making it fickle, consumerism. If you guys missed anything, this was definitely a very interesting one. When we end the live video, I would say go back and watch it. There were actually quite a few controversial topics that were discussed.
Yeah.
I wonder what the general stance is going to be towards us. It could be very black and white. It could be, either way. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. Very insightful conversation. Lots to ponder, lots of ideas, lots of, thoughts moving forward.
I think also base. I know one thing that you have wanted to do on this podcast is the drug culture, and it's something I really want to do too, but I don't want to do it right now. So it's something to be excited about. It's something that, if we got a little bit controversial at the moment, it's only the beginning, man. I have a lot of people to piss off still. but yeah, so going forward, it is nice. It's always unusual to have these conversations, knowing where to a certain point I've always just been following the industry, and then now I'm I've got the inside ear and hearing where your head's at before you do these things. So that's always welcomed, and it's enlightening for me. Going forward, I think we're also at a stage where the industry is being redefined, whether we like it or not, because of the pandemic. So where it's going forward, we're going to have to see, and I'm very excited to see it. I can't wait to get back to the days where I'm on a 3-4 day bender.
I think one, as much as this lockdown has affected all of us, and it's been very difficult for a lot of people, I think from event organizers' point of view, the one thing that has been really nice has been that the lockdown has actually almost neutralized the playing field. We all back at the starting blocks, that's open for anyone. I know there started becoming really big tiger brands, really big pushers and promoters that were really taking over the industry and making it very difficult for smaller up and coming event organizers to actually get into it. So I think now, just in the sense that it's been neutralized, so as the general population, you can expect a lot more variety and a lot more actually happening. It's not just the same in and out every single weekend, which I think kind of just looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, that is something excited for everyone, for everyone who's involved in the culture, whether you are a event organizer, a DJ, just a general party goer, whether if you just sit there and badmouth it, at least there's going to be more for everyone.
Yeah, I think, like you were saying, it's a level playing field. A lot of, I don't want to say the players have left the game, but it has been a restart for everyone to get back into it. Like you were saying, it was a level playing field where whoever was putting their hands up all the way through lockdown, they were the first people that it would do it to. It's just what happened. a lot of events, or let's say venues for that matter, where unless they've been pushing throughout this lockdown, they've kind of fallen on the back foot. A lot of these clubs, I know to a certain extent, clubbing is still not allowed at this point in lockdown, but there are clubs who have been pushing throughout this process. They have opened to a certain capacity. Whether it were them rebranding, where they were previously a club, now they've changed their name, and now they are a brunch location with a DJ throughout the day. That's things that have happened for those people who've been pushing throughout lockdown, and that has ultimately paid off, because they were the places where, when the alcohol ban was first lifted, they were serving those non-alcoholic beers. Well, they were alcoholic beers, they were non-alcoholic beers. They were pushing the whole time. And because of that, they've already had their foot in the door long before we went to everyone. So they've been operating. And the same goes for artists. When venues were operating in that capacity, they were the only artists that were putting their hands up. So that level playing field is something very real that a lot of people who previously were the big hitters in the industry have to reconsider. But, yeah.
Very, very, very true. And I think, as I mentioned before, just kind of for everyone involved, not just let's say the people who financially benefit, but the people who benefit from the entertainment and benefit from the variety. I think just for everyone in pretty much the entire country, we could say, actually benefits in some way or other, whether it be more opportunities, whether it be a big variety of where you can actually go and what you're actually looking out for. I think it's been a very tough year. We've all had struggles. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't been affected by lockdown, and so I think that's just something nice to look forward to. Like a light at the end of the tunnel, as I said. But cool guys. Thank you to all of you who tuned in and listened to us talk cuck here and listen to our opinions. Thank you, Chris Hock 017 on Instagram and Kung Fu Panda on what is it? Kung Fu Dumpling on TikTok. Go have a look. He's a very controversial person. If you don't like him, give him a follow because he will piss you off.
I can't wait. But also, it's something that obviously, now that the industry's reopening, it's something I do care about. I know that for a lot of people, it's something that they've needed. I'm very excited to see the gremlins crawl back out of their caves, right? It's something I can't wait for. And to a large extent, I think as a country, we need it as a, how do I call it, the human race, the globe at large. It is something that the light at the end of the tunnel, as you said, is very welcomed. I think just navigating it now is it's something we need to focus on doing correctly, whether it be the event organizer side, venue side, just artist side, making sure that everything's done right and we can move on with our lives, man.
Yeah, it's about time, hey? We've been 6 months of this. Okay, cool guys. Well, thank you for all of you who joined in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for comments and the support. We are planning on doing this basically as a weekly podcast every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. You can watch it here on Instagram Live, we also on YouTube Live, and we on Twitch Live. So we absolutely love all your guys' support. Just before we go, let's do a few announcements. Firstly, we have got our culture event. So if you've been wondering, on the video there it says Thursday 24 September, doors open 1, etc, etc. That is our event, culture, happening at Mary Jane's this coming Thursday. It is the public holiday, Heritage Day, so it's only fitting that we called it culture. Doors open at 1 o'clock. It's 50 Rand pre-sale. You can get your tickets from Howler. Head over to our Facebook events page, Incognito Social, to get your pre-sale tickets. It is 100 Rand at the door, and the venue is called Mary Jane's. It's in Kensington. It is a 420 friendly bar. It's an epic vibe. It's an absolutely amazing venue. There is a lot of hype that's going around this event, so I think it is going to be pumping. I think people are sick of not going out and not spending time with their mates, and I think it's only fitting, day drills are the new in. So yeah, we'd love for you guys to come support us. We've got a cool deep house lineup that we've put together. Then on the same token, every Sunday we are throwing events at ESP. That's from 11 in the morning till 9 in the evening. Also deep house, techno, tech house. For any of you who are questioning or know ESP because of its reputation, guys, it is very different. It has changed. We are getting a younger crowd through. We are getting new up and coming DJs. We really are putting a lot of effort to try and rebuild the club to the stature that it once had. So we would love all your support. We'd love you guys to come through, check it out before you make any preconceived notions towards it. Come through, spend the day with us. If you are not entertained, we will give you your money back. 24-hour money back guarantee, because we're confident that we will. And then the last thing, if you guys haven't seen, on the 3rd of October we are throwing a huge open air festival at the Soweto Towers. It's going to be big. We have got some really cool artists that are joining us. Tomorrow we've got a headliner dropping, so check out our Facebook and our Instagram pages to check who this headliner is. It's the first of the batch that we're dropping. So yeah, you can get your tickets also from our events page. They are 200 Rand phase 1, 250 Rand phase 2, and 300 at the door. That one, a lot of effort and a lot of work has been going into it in the background. It is going to be hustling. It's going to be pumping. So we do recommend that you come through. Okay, and then basically for my second favorite part of the show, obviously I love our discussions and our topics. It is my underrated DJ of the week. For any of you that know who this is, you'll know exactly why he's been chosen as an underrated DJ. For those of you who haven't heard him, definitely come through to one of our events. Give him a listen. He never fails to entertain. He never fails to never disappoints. Jesus, that was tough to come out.
He never disappoints, guys.
And our DJ pick of the week is TJ Funk, Incognito's underrated DJ of the week. TJ Funk, definitely go and give him a check out, guys. I will drop links in the discussion section. Well, that pretty much wraps it up from our side. Thank you guys for all of you who joined. Thank you for listening in. Let us know what you thought. We'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to know what you think. How was the discussion? If you're joining late, go back and start the live video from the beginning. It was a pretty hectic conversation, if I can say that, but it was very interesting. It's very insightful. Lots to ponder on. Thanks, Chris Hock, for joining us again.
Yeah, always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure to have you on the show. And yeah, that wraps it up from our side. Any questions you guys have, we'll keep the video going for the next 2 minutes, I guess. If you guys got any questions, want anything from our side, want to know anything, let us know. Just before we head out, we run a lot of promotional activity via email. It is an email listing, so head over to our Facebook page, go look on our Facebook tab. There'll be email listing, sign up there. We do post a lot of details, we post a lot of information, so cool. Yeah, well, let us know if you guys have any questions. We're gonna hang around for a minute or two. Okay, well, that is all we have for tonight. Milan, Jem, thanks for the positive feedback, guys. Rosette Music SA. Sorry, man, you're a bit late to the show, but what I would recommend is go back and watch from the start. Cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone who joined. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We will see you guys again next Tuesday evening. We'll have Kung Fu Dumpling on show again.